Yo, what's going on guys, it's Anime One back here with another video, and today here I'm with another part of What If Naruto had the jougan. So if you guys like the content in the channel, please subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, also like this video. So let's begin the video. Ada nervously sat on her world or summon. There was a monkey chill and silently hurled around her, cowering in fear. All of them had seen the devastating battle happening on the ground, but what terrified them was the moment when the dark chakra had been unleashed. Ada had gone too far as to using a genjutsu to keep the terrified children from panicking. But even in the illusion state, the chakra still felt dark, a little making them a little close to her for comfort. Something she had readily offered. She was worried about her best friends. Every second felt like an eternity for her, as she was forced to stay behind, just being by their side. Yet, this was the first time she had seen Naruto openly use his jutsus at such a high rate, to such an extent. He had showed her his dark release power, and from what Arashi told her, Naruto also had light release power, but he couldn't figure those out. It was dangerous and not very powerful. However, she had felt the element that drove this power. She had felt his anger, his sadness, his pain, his hurt. Those emotions fueled that dark power, and Ada knew her friend's life was more than enough to make his emotions natural. She had also felt the bloodlust, and it scared her. Ada could only imagine what Arashi must have been feeling as the boy was fighting beside Naruto. She was at least feeling all this from a distance and wished to God to keep both of her best friends and strength to survive and come back to her. She couldn't lose either of them, no matter how much annoying the boys could be at the times. Please be okay, prayed Ada. A lone tear fell from her eyes. A tired, distressed-looking boy managed to climb up the mountain, the last part of the mountain that was. He was partly panting harshly. His uniform was torn in many places. Blood dripped from several minor wounds across his body. Exhaustion could surely be seen in the eyes. It was fair to say that Arashi Uzumaki had seen better days. This crazy mission which he had undertaken under the orders of his crazy-ass best friend was turning to be the toughest assignment of his life, starting from continuous travel for several days without much rest, then fighting a gruesome battle with so many enemies, then running several kilometers at top speed, followed by climbing at a step mountain and nearly losing his life. And now he was about to face a man feared across the entire world. I swear I'm gonna kill you, Naruto, mumbled Arashi. Commander. Arashi's head snapped towards the notice the slight and the middle-aged man and a beautiful woman standing beside him. And the female was wearing the uniform of a high-ranking rain ninja and had addressed the older-looking samurai-like man. This was it. He couldn't fail. His friend's future, his clan's future, all of it depended on him. He won't fail. With great effort, Arashi managed to stand back on his shaky legs. He was nearing towards the chakra exhaustion, and his vision was partially dark. He had barely managed to take a few steps forward towards the caution ninjas when his legs betrayed him, and he collapsed on his knees. He faintly heard the starting of footsteps towards him before a harsh voice sent chills down his spine. Let him walk. The boy hasn't arrived before me yet. Rashi's blurry vision instantly cleared the moment his eyes caught the man that he was looking for. Salamander Hanzo, the tall leader of Rain, proudly stood before him, And Arashi realized why people feared him. The power he felt from Hanzo was immense and strong. It made Arashi call forward all his will not to whimper beneath the man's harsh gaze. His hands were about to start shaking when he remembered Naruto's word of being proud of being an Uzumaki. Hanzo critically watched as the previously nervous boy shakily stood back on his feet and started limping towards him, using his tanto as support. The determined look on the boy's eyes made Hanzo respect the boy's courage. I have to walk. I won't cower. A proud Uzumaki never gives up, no matter what, thought Arashi passionately, as the faces of his Uzukage and the descent clansmen who had offered a valiant fight in the end flashed before his eyes. It was their sacrifices that gave him strength as he arrived before Salamander Hanzo and stood before the man confidently. It was this moment Arashi didn't fear anything. He knew that he had to do it and nobody would stop him. He watched as Hanzo observed him and gave him the same harsh gaze. "I'm pleased to meet you, Hanzo-sama," said Arashi respectfully. "What's your name, boy?" asked Hanzo in the same strict voice, making Arashi look at him straight in the eyes. "Arashi Uzumaki." He heard the woman gasp in surprise at the mention of his clan's name. Even samurai-like man raised an eyebrow a little. However, Hanzo seemed unaffected as he was before the revelation. "So what kind of threat have you come to make after attacking my nation, my shoulders?" asked Hanzo icily. It took everything in Arashi's heart not to faint right there as Hanzo's leak portion of his power, along with the monster's killing intent. Arashi's fist clenched as he steadily himself. He wouldn't mess this up. "We don't offer any threat, but offer prospect of an alliance beneficial to both of our sides," answered Arashi honestly, and saw Hanzo look at him critically. "By holding my soldiers hostage against me, tell me, boy, have we killed any of them?" asked Hanzo darkly. "It is a necessary step to protect my people. We can be distrusting in this situation and troubled times. Yet I give you my word that none of your warriors have been killed, nor will be killed, no matter what the outcome of this meeting. You deeply regret creating the situation, but it was unavoidable," answered Harashi frankly. He was surprised when Hanzo barely raised his eyebrow at those words spoken. "So, what happens now?" asked Hanzo. "If you wish peace and coexistence, then an alliance, and if not," said Arashi carefully. Then he saw the tall man narrow his eyes dangerously. "And if not," said Hanzo in a dark voice. Arashi felt his vision starting to darken, but he fought it and took a deep breath. "Just a little more. Just a little more. If not, then something else at least. But because I didn't come here to offer one-sided surrender," said Harashi truthfully. Hanzo remained silent as his commanders watched the interaction with the extreme attention. When the flames of war reach the rain, there is a way to protect this nation. I can tell you how to achieve it. If you listen to me with an open mind, maybe we can truly work out together for a peaceful new world. Arashi glanced at the three people surrounding him. He was already on his last legs and had done everything in his power to fulfill his mission. The decision moment arrived as he turned to Hanzo, who looked at the stoic man right in the eye. "Then what shall it be, Hanzo-sama?" Time skip. Ada had only seen a handful of times in her life when the two best friends were mad at each other. Usually, Arashi accepted whatever decisions or opinions Naruto had, as long as Arashi didn't pester his friends or on their morals. Naruto was willing to bear with his friends' compassionate hearts, but something had happened. Something big. Never seen Arashi glare murderously at Naruto like he was doing right now. The three men of them in front of them are currently waiting in Hanzo's throne room, waiting for the reign leaders and his top advisors to make their appearance. Shiji knew what Arashi had said to the powerful man, but it was at least convinced Hanzo to give them a chance to present their case. It was a miracle. Ada couldn't help but be stunned by the fire and confidence he saw in Rossi's eyes right now. The submissive, naive boy that she had known was slowly changing, and she had guessed as to who was behind this change. She had to admit, whatever Naruto was doing was turning Arashi into a fine man, and in time, a good leader. Naruto, for his part, was standing on the opposite side of the room, back pressed against to a pillar, and the blonde's face was covered with a face mask. His hands safely tugged under his chest. The boy was simply uncaring and regardless of the murderous looks from Arashi was throwing his way. Now, Ada knew that if not for these important negotiations just around the corner, Arashi would have yelled at Naruto like there was no tomorrow. That just seemed to piss him off. She herself didn't like the way in which Naruto had completed this mission by keeping his closest friend in the dark about whatever his real reasons or plans was. It hurt, but Naruto was simply stubborn and usually had his way no matter what. The only thing stopping them from blasting out at their friend was the fact that they still trusted him and knew that he had done everything at the best interest in his heart. It was just his way that they were questionable. You did good. It was the first time she heard him speak. She saw Naruto directly looking at Arashi as he finished saying those words. Despite her best efforts, Ada couldn't hold her back. A surprised expression. It was rare to see for anyone to live up to Naruto's standard, except Naruto himself, that was, and he barely praised anyone. So to see him honestly praise Arashi was quite a shock. And it seemed that Arashi was stunned as well, judging from the boy's open mouth and trembling lips. Seeing his friend's expression brought a small smile on Naruto's face. I'm sorry for putting you through all this, through everything that has happened in the past few months. Rest assured, you won't have to bear it any longer, said Naruto quietly. Before either of his friends could question him about the statement, doors of the chambers situated on the far side of the room opened. A group of people walked in, led by Salamander Hanzo himself. Arashi easily recognized the samurai commander and the beautiful blonde woman who was previously encountered in this group as well. Beside him, Ada stifled a gasp as she laid her eyes on Hanzo for the first time. Naruto was wearing his expressionless mask, as even Hanzo walked past them, not even sparing a mysterious glance at the boy. He silently smirked when the angel or Conan was within one of those groups. So a spy among Hanzo, huh? Naruto thought with a smirk. He had to admit the girl had a strange name, and despite their rough first time meeting, he had respected her skills. He simply didn't care about other people in the group, specifically the old man and the old woman dressed in civilian clothes, who were shooting murderous glances at him. He also spotted a young boy nearly their age with spiky orange hair in the group. So, Iko also works in this group, huh? He thought. Only reason that he didn't want to say Nagato is because of his Rinnegan, is what I'm assuming. Naruto thought as he exchanged curious glances at Conan and Yaiko, but they broke it. At least not everyone thinks I'm a freak, thought Naruto sarcastically. He could just imagine Ada's reaction if he said his thoughts out loud. Naruto's credit, he actually smiled when Hanzo and his party settled in their seats, and the leader of the Rangers looked straight at him. I've already heard through Rashi's proposal of an alliance between the Rain and the Uzumaki, or what's left of them anyway, commented Hanzo and was surprised when Naruto simply nodded. You know the advantage the Uzumaki can provide you. Despite the Rain's increased strength, your ninjas are weak in comparison to those of the five great nations, said Naruto bluntly. He heard Ada and Arashi gasp behind him and received several dark looks from many of Hanzo's supporters, particularly the civilian old peer. Hanzo leaned forward and gazed intently at him. Naruto, for his part, continued his defiant stare. I can pardon Arashi and the rest of her clan, but not you, said Hanzo flatly as Conan and the orange-haired boy looked at Naruto. Before Arashi or Ada could come to their friend's defense, something happened. Understandable. I planned this mission. None of my people knew exactly what they were getting into. I assumed full responsibility, said Naruto truthfully, and his hands raised, stopping Arashi from interfering. A stern glance at Ada also stopped him from speaking. As he turned around, he saw Hanzo giving him a surprised smile. I see, so you are the leader hiding in the shadow of Arashi, asked Hanzo curiously, but the boy shook his head. I am a soldier, nothing more, nothing less. Arashi speaks of all of us, but each of us have a freedom to voice their own opinions. All of us are free. That is just how we Uzumakis are, said Naruto boldly. You know, I can actually kill all of you, said Hanzo darkly, making the samurai beside him going stiff, and Conan and Yaiko look uncomfortable. While the civilian old peers seemed to agree with this move, Hanzo saw those monkey boys started walking towards him, and a soldier stepped forward but was stopped by Hanzo. He watched the boy climb the stairs and reach the throne on which Hanzo was seated. Beside him, his superiors were ready to jump to his defense, but Hanzo's eyes were fixed on this boy alone. A cold glare landing on Hanzo was enough to send shivers down the spines of his supporters. Before we perish, we will burn the Rain to the ground. I personally slaughtered as many of your people as I can. Cripple your nation just before the greatest of the war of our world. You will destroy yourself and all your dreams. To destroy the Uzumaki will be the end of you. And remember these words, Hanzo, because I swear it, promised Naruto murderously. His dark chakra began to spike, dangerously making the people around him tremble. He opened his jougan, glaring at Hanzo. So didn't even flinch, even as every ninja around him placed their weapons around his entire body, ready to strike in a flash. Your clan is full of innocent children. If my people die, so will yours, said Hanzo darkly, and the boy's eyes softened just for a second before defiance creeped back in his eyes. I've already seen the worst of this world. Your empty threats do not scare me. Salamander Hanzo, said Naruto. Neither Ada or Arashi knew that what was going on. Naruto's voice was barely above a whisper. and their friends was standing far away from them. But judging from the weapons pointed at them and the tense atmosphere, they could imagine what havoc Naruto could be causing. In this expectation that shocked them when Hanzo leaned back in his chair and smirked. I will give every Uzumaki a place in this nation. They all shall have citizenship, provided they swear loyalty to the Rain Village and its leaders, said Hanzo seriously, loud enough for the remaining two Uzumakis in the room to hear. Naruto only shared a brief look with his friends before turning back to Hanzo, a distrustful expression appearing in his jougan and his other blue eyes. Other villages slaughtered my people because we were different, because of our knowledge. I swear if you touch my people. Naruto was surprised when Hanzo got back on his feet, making his supporters step back and create space. The leader of the rain looked directly into the young boy's eyes, and the message was clear in those orbs. I am not those men. I am Hanzo's salamander. Naruto's relentless gaze stared upon Hanzo's eyes. He didn't know why, but his gaze went towards Konan and Yahiko, who were surprisingly giving him small nods. He saw how equally surprised the girl and the orange-haired boy was with their own actions. He saw the samurai looking at him with a neutral expression, and the girl with the blonde hair seemed skeptical, but it didn't say anything. The strange orange-haired boy gave him a smile, and the civilians were glaring at him more hatefully. He looked at his friends again. Arashi gave him a small nod, while Ada gave him a hopeful smile. He could only see the emerging happiness in their gazes, hope in their eyes. That under these terms, the Uzumaki clan pledged themselves to the rain. We shall abide by the laws of these lands and have faith in the government. Accept the people of the rain as a countrymen and fight to protect this nation from all enemies, foreign or domestic, promised Naruto. Hanzo gave me a firm nod as an approval for the oath undertake. What about you? Asked Hanzo, taking Naruto by surprise as he raised his eyebrow at the man. What about me? Questioned Naruto. Your clan, your friends, took the oath. Not you, said Hanzo fiercely, making the boy smirk. While I appreciate the offer, I'll pass. Hanzo saw the shocked look on his boy's friend's face, the anger in his own ninjas for such an open rejection. Yet Hanzo couldn't help but see surprise. Beside him, the samurai was shocked on seeing Hanzo smile faintly for the first time in decades as he stared at the boy's eyes. The others didn't understand, but the samurai, Mifune, could feel what Hanzo felt as he watched this boy standing before him. Your qualities will be known to this world for a long time. Naruto Uzumaki. Nan and Yahiko sort of had a small smirk. If this was the leader of the Akatsuki, the one who was being praised by Hanzo, there is no doubt in their mind that what promise Naruto had done to them would come to fruition, and he had to go now. Naruto started walking towards the other direction as Hanzo looked at the boy. You have guts, kid, and I will let you do whatever, but do not involve the rain and your people in this matter. I hope you know that, whatever your goals are, said Hanzo as Naruto nodded. I know that very well, Hanzo-sama, said Naruto, putting the sama thing sarcastically as it vanished in a black smoke. Time skip. Ada and Arashi were in a single room, just processing everything that happened. Their friend had left this village. For what? What was his goal? Arashi knew for a fact the goal that Naruto had told him was not what that was his real goal, but he could see Naruto's goal was very dark, and due to that reason, he could not tell his best friend what his real goal in this world to bring peace actually was. I've actually wondered what made you fall for that goddamn idiot, said Arashi, looking at Ada, who blushed a little, but she had a sad smile. Well, it happened a long time ago. I guess it happened when we were 10 years old and entered the academy at the first. He said as Arashi looked at her. What do you mean? Asked Arashi. Ada just looked at him. At that time, just a year before, my mom was killed by someone unknown. We don't know the specifics, even though Zakage refused to tell me who killed my mother. He said that he didn't want me to be driven by vengeance. Naruto at that time in our academy was cold and distant from everyone else. He was the rookie of the year, the smartest and the strongest in our class. And yet, the day my mother died, that was the day when he came to talk to me. Other day, he didn't give a damn about me. He talked to me and brought me out of my depression. And not only that, I've never told you this, Arashi, but I was actually kidnapped by Kumo ninjas for me being Uzumaki with a special bloodline, she said. As Arashi looked at her special bloodline, he asked, as she nodded. Her eyes changed as a moon appeared in her eyes and a star in the other. These are my Kekigenkai. I have the ability of clairvoyance. Within 10 meters of radius within me, I can see and hear everything that happens in that 10 meters of radius. And because of that, this information was spread in Kumo, and they wanted me and kidnapped me. But Naruto came to my rescue and killed all of them. Arashi's eyes widened. You mean to tell me Naruto was killing at the age of 10? He said. She nodded. Yes, he did, but when he saved me, when I was terrified by seeing all those bodies in the ground, he just smiled at me so kind. Arashi, the side of Naruto that you're looking right now is someone who's broken, and at that time he was just an empty shell. But right now he has some motivation to do something, unlike before. That's why. So that's the reason you fell in love with him, asked Arashi, as Ada just simply nodded. Naruto is very special, and I know you know that better than me, Arashi, she said, as Arashi nodded. I guess you're right, some things never change, do they? He said, as Ada shook her head. You mean to tell me the time when Naruto literally berated those Hokage? She said, as Arashi simply laughed. What did he say to those Hokage again? Old hag, don't give me direct missions anymore. Are you going senile or something? Something along those lines, wasn't it? He said, as Ada laughed and chuckled. I guess you're right. Naruto has changed, but he still is kind inside. It's just that he doesn't what has happened to Uzu happen ever again, and for that, I'm thinking he's even willing to destroy the entire world if it comes to it, she said. Arashi nodded. That's what I'm fearing, Ada. No matter how good Uzumakis are, there's something that's in my mind, Arashi said, as Ada looked at him. What is it? She said. Why would the three great nations band against us out of nowhere? If they really wanted to wipe us out for being Konoha's ally, or being excellent in Fuin Jutsu, or having long vitality, or anything along those lines, they would have done it long ago. Why now? Why now? Said Arashi. Ada looked at him. You mean to tell me someone is behind Uzu's massacre? Someone orchestrated the entire plan, and someone encouraged the three great nations to seem us a threat to them, so that they would have to band together and kill us, said Harashi, as Ada was looking at him shocked. You think Naruto already knows it. I'm not smarter than Naruto, yet he has already got a hang of this, and he's trying to figure out who that man was. If I have to take a guess, that's the reason why he's leaving the Rain Village for some time, said Urashi as Ada looked at him. That's yes. Naruto is gonna go alone and travel. Meanwhile, Naruto was standing in front of Nagato. So, what do you plan to do next? Asked Nagato. I want you to leave the Rain Village with me and gather allies. I already have one. His name is Kisame Hoshigaki. He's my spy in the Hidden Mist Village. We need spy in every great village except Konoha. They are just too loyal to their village, but the others, they are not. We need to expand the Akatsuki so that our future plans will come to fruition, said Naruto as he looked at Nagato. On top of that, you need a partner to master those eyes completely, said Naruto as Nagato looked at him. And you need a partner to master that eye, said Nagato. Naruto shook his head. No, it's not like that. Spars or being in a death-like situation, yes, those are the places where shinobi grow the most. But for this eye, it's completely different. It's like information is dropping in my head every single day about different abilities and different jutsus and so many stuff. Yet, I cannot perform the jutsu that Urashi had told me that I wiped out all those Konoha ninjas with, said Naruto. What kind of jutsu was it? Asked Nagato. You see, Arashi told me that I could use light release and dark release. I combined a blue ball and a black ball, forming a silver and a silvery shiny ball, and that threw it towards the leaf ninjas, and it destroyed everything in its path, including the leaf ninjas. If I can muster up something like that, I doubt that any Kage could stop me, and we could directly overthrow Hanzo without any problem, said Naruto, as Nagato looked at him. Then what's stopping you again? That's the exact thing. I cannot use light release. Dark release is just like what can I say, second nature to me. It's almost natural, but yet light release is a completely different thing. On the other hand, said Naruto. This Arashi just stood up. Very well then, we have to go. Leave this place for the sake of our goal, for expanding the Akatsuki.